Welcome to Ask Dr. Faye, where wisdom, leadership, life, and transformation come together through powerful conversations that inspire clarity, confidence, purpose, and growth. Hosted by Dr. Faye, pastor, coach, speaker, media executive, and founder of A1 Business Experts. Submit your questions and discover more at AskDrFaye.com. Now, here is Dr. Faye.
Well, welcome, folks, to this brand new Ask Dr. Faye. I'm so glad you're here today. And let me tell you something. I've spent a lot of time on this column. It was actually a column for a local newspaper, Ask Dr. Faye, where people actually, and still do, write in, ask me questions, text me questions if they know me, post questions in my messenger, whatever, however they need those questions answered, that's what they do. And it is a safe space for you, overachievers, to bring your questions, let them land in this space on Ask Dr. Faye Podcast so that they can be answered anonymously. Well, they're not answered anonymously. I will be answering those questions from a faith-based, intuitive place, and you can ask them anonymously at AskDrFaye.com, as you heard from the announcer. So I want to dive in because this is not a long podcast, but it is a powerful podcast. I always say it doesn't have to be long to be strong. So are you ready for our first question? Yes. And make sure you tell your friends about this podcast because their questions may be featured, and any question, because this is a safe place. No one has to know that it's you, but you will get clarity. I promise you that. You will get clarity if you listen in. So the question is, Dr. Faye, I built a successful career. People respect me. I'm accomplished. I've accomplished goals I once prayed for, but internally, I feel disconnected, emotionally exhausted, and honestly lost. So, Dr. Faye, I'm accomplished, I'm successful, but right now I'm feeling disconnected, emotionally exhausted, and honestly, I'm feeling lost. Why do I feel this way even though I'm successful? So let me answer this way. First of all, thank you for your honesty. Thank you for your transparency. Thank you for trusting me with your valuable question. Because many people never admit this publicly, that they feel lost, especially high achievers, especially leaders, especially caregivers, especially entrepreneurs, especially people everyone depend on, like the pastor, the leader, the C-suite person, the owner, the founder, the person, the mom. They're the ones that everyone depend upon. These people are smiling in the boardrooms. They're smiling in the churches. They're smiling in their business, in their civic groups, their organizations, and even smiling with great big smiles on social media every single day, many of them, while silently they're asking the question, why doesn't any of this feel fulfilling in my life? The hidden emptiness of high achievers is something that many of us don't own, and we don't talk about it because it's taboo. If you're successful, you're supposed to have it all together. But the reality is not so much, not all together. One of the biggest misconceptions in our culture is the idea that success automatically creates fulfillment. Well, it does not. Success and fulfillment are not the same things, ladies and gentlemen. You can achieve goals and still feel emotionally disconnected. You can have money and still feel exhausted. You can have followers, millions of followers on social media, and we've seen that, and still feel lonely. You can have a church full of congregants and still feel like there's nobody there for you. You can be celebrated publicly by the masses and by your community, and silently you're breaking inside. Privately, internally, you're still asking why. Because many people build successful lives without ever building emotionally healthy lives. Some people have spent so much time surviving that they never stop to ask themselves, what actually is bringing me peace right now? What actually is bringing me peace? Many high achievers, much like yourself, are operating from pressure, operating from fear, operating from trauma, operating from performance. And we'll talk about performance mode in just a moment. They're operating from people pleasing, and they learned it early in life. They're operating from the need for validation. And eventually, success stops feeling exciting because exhaustion catches up with you. Sometimes people are not chasing purpose anymore. They are chasing a relief, sigh, something to exhale with. This is a very important distinction. Many people are trapped in performance mode. Hear me clearly. And performance mode says keep producing. It says keep achieving. It says keep smiling even when you're breaking inside. Keep pushing. Whoever fostered that lie. Keep pushing. Keep carrying everybody else, even when you feel like you're not being carried yourself. But performance mode disconnects people from authenticity, from transparency, because now they're wearing this shield, this guard to protect their performance. Their identity becomes attached to the title, becomes attached to roles that they play, become attached to obligations that they have in life, becomes attached to the achievements, their awards, their accolades, and all the things. It becomes attached to responsibilities. And here's the dangerous part. The world rewards performance. If you perform, we applaud great performers, don't we? We celebrate the performance with all of the awards that are given every year. We celebrate them. And eventually your soul starts asking questions your schedule cannot answer because you're running out of time and you don't have peace. Sometimes the pattern starts in our lives much earlier. Sometimes it starts as a child and we're feeling it as an adult. Now you're 25, 30, 40, 50 years old, 60, 70, and you're feeling it in your life. Some people learn very young that achievement created a safety for them, or accolades or celebrations like your good report card, or your winning the track meet, or the star basketball or football player. And it becomes evident that if you work hard enough and you do well enough, then people will celebrate you and you will be awarded and rewarded for those accomplishments. So you identify with that rather than internally finding out who you really are. You were praised a lot for your externals. In our culture, it's a thing. And on AskDrFaye Podcast, we want to help you remove the clutter, remove the layers, and get real, get authentic with yourself. Maybe you became a helper. Maybe you became a fixer. Maybe you became the strong one, the dependable one. And over time, unconsciously learned that your value comes from what you do for others rather than what you can be for yourself. So you spend your lives achieving, but never feeling emotionally secure. And what that created in your life is identity exhaustion. Write that down if you can, and if you will, write down identity exhaustion. If you can't write this down and you're listening to the podcast while you're driving, commuting, or whatever you're doing, make sure that you go back and listen to it again, because I want you to really tune in and get clear on who you are. Do you know, when everyone knows who they are and is rightfully postured and positioned in this world, we have a more peaceful society? Yeah. Eventually, you become tired of carrying versions of yourself and build versions of yourself that were built from the survival mode and survival patterns instead of being in alignment with who you were created to be, so that you can do the things you were created to do and have the things that you were created to have. There's a reason why success stops feeling satisfying. There comes a moment where external success no longer compensates for internal disconnection. You feel the disconnect. Now you're feeling like artificial intelligence. You're just there doing the thing, but you're not feeling the connection emotionally. It's not emotionally driven. So it's therefore you're not satisfied with the outcome. That was good. That moment can be terrifying because you feel this disconnect, because now the accomplishment that once motivated you no longer satisfy you emotionally. Yes. It's like marrying someone that you thought you were in love with and then find out that there's no connection. There's no real emotionally connection because you weren't aligned with yourself, so you cannot align with anyone else. So you may be asking yourself today, what am I really doing in life? What actually matters now? Why do I feel emotionally numb? Why does everything feel so heavy? Why am I constantly exhausted? And medically, there's nothing wrong. I've gone to the doctor. There's nothing really wrong with me, except that I'm feeling empty inside. And many people will panic at that stage. And I don't want you to panic. You've gone to the doctor, you've had evaluation, you've gone for mental health as well. Not only for physical health, but you've also gone for mental health. So, but don't panic. But honestly, sometimes this is not a breakdown. Sometimes it's an awakening. It's a moment of redefining who you are. Sometimes your soul is demanding alignment. Sometimes your life is evolving beyond performance. It is bigger than what you do. It is greater than the accolades. It is greater than the awards and the rewards. Sometimes you are no longer willing to abandon yourself just to maintain appearance, right? So let me tell you quickly how to rebuild alignment. So how do you begin reconnecting with yourself again? How do you begin to discover who you are once for the first time in your life, some of you? First of all, stop judging yourself for feeling disconnected, to remove the judgment. Your exhaustion is information for you, right? So what do you do with this information? It's not failure. Secondly, I want you to start auditing your life honestly. Take a self-audit and ask yourself these questions. What drains me? What energizes me? Thirdly, what no longer fits who I am becoming or who I have become? Next, what am I performing instead of where am I performing instead of living authentically? I've had to ask myself that question so many times over the years. Where am I performing instead of living authentically? Next, I want you to ask yourself the question, what relationships exhaust me? Sometimes you've got to change the people that you have in your circle, honey. It's okay, sir. Finally, what environments are suffocating you? Some places that you can't walk in anymore because you can't breathe. Some rooms you don't need to belong in because you don't belong in. Some tables you don't need to sit at because there shouldn't be a seat there for you. So be okay with being okay with that. Create a space for yourself emotionally. That's the third thing. Create a space for yourself emotionally. Take some time. I instruct the women in my Love When Women Choose Themselves annual event here in Stuttgart, Arkansas, every February, the fourth Saturday of every February. And we're hosting this event. Find out who you are. Get your identity hat on. Understand who that person is, and then you will attract the right things in your life. Many people are constantly surrounded by noise, a lot of noise out there. There's a noise in social media, noise in the family, noise in the neighborhood, noise everywhere. So these notifications that we're receiving, ping, pong, all these notifications, responsibilities that we have, the pressure that you feel on your life, darlings, there's a lot of noise in this world. Obligations is some noise. The demands that are put on your time and your talents, your gifts, away from your calling, that's a demand. Someone else is putting you on their calendar. It's time to stop the madness. Clarity requires quiet time. It requires peaceful moments. I told the ladies in my Love When Women Choose Themselves event that it's time for you to just get some quiet space, some time that you can meditate. Maybe it's a pause before you go in the house after work. Maybe it's first thing in the morning. Get up 15 minutes before everybody else, but get some quiet space. Design some quiet for you. Do it on purpose. Give yourself permission is number 4. Give yourself permission to evolve, to grow past where you were before. Give yourself time and permission. The version of you that built your current life may not be the version required for the next season and the rest of your life. Understand that there must be some emotional reframing of your life. This is very important. Feeling lost does not mean you are failing. A lot of people can feel lost, but that doesn't mean you're failing. Do not panic simply because your priorities are changing. They will change as you grow. They will change as you evolve. They will change as the people in your life change. And I don't mean they're actually changing internally, but you're changing the circle in which you have around you, which you are encircled by. Evolution often feels uncomfortable because it feels liberating. It does. Like those things that bound you before no longer have shackles on you. They no longer have bondage attached to you. Don't no longer have this bondage attached to you. So these are some takeaways. I want you to write these down. If you can't write them down now, make sure you write them down later. Success without peace becomes exhausting. Secondly, a full calendar does not equal a fulfilled life. Remember that one. It'll get you stuck and unstuck if you remember that. You are allowed to evolve. I give you permission today to evolve, to be better than you've ever been, to grow higher internally. Rest is productivity. Your value is not limited to your performance. Alignment matters more than appearance, darling. Emotional honesty is powerful. You deserve a life that feels meaningful internally, not just impressive externally. So this is my signature quote, and I'll have one every podcast just for you. And I want you to remember this. Success means very little if you lose yourself while achieving it. Success means very little if you lose yourself while achieving it. Protect your peace while pursuing your purpose. So if this podcast has been a blessing to you, it's empowered you in some way, I want you to go to AskDrFaye.com, send your question, and allow me the opportunity to serve you right here on the podcast by answering your question, and I'll say anonymous. Yes, so we won't use your name, we won't use your location, we'll just say is from anonymous. Listen, I love you. I know God loves you. This is Ask Dr. Faye. I'm Dr. Faye, your pastor coach, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.
You've been listening to Ask Dr. Faye. For more empowering conversations and to submit your questions for a future episode, visit AskDrFaye.com. Be sure to subscribe, share, and join us again for another powerful conversation with Dr. Faye. Until next time, keep growing, keep leading, and keep moving forward with purpose.